Hello and welcome to a new video. Yes, I'm in a different location for today's intro. So this week the temperatures has plummeted and we received our first snowfall yesterday on the Estrella mountain. It's not very heavy yet, but all the roads, all the mountainside has been covered with a light dusting of snow. So yesterday I also received keys to this little apartment. Because the temperatures have been so low, I just can't deal with it. I can't deal with showering in the cold. I needed some comfort, a little bit of comfort. And instead of keep renting Airbnbs for a couple of days every week, just to feel a little bit more comfortable, I negotiated with one of the people that owns this apartment in the village of Penamacor to rent it for the rest of the month since it was standing empty. She gave me a really good deal because I'm not living here. I'm still living on the farm. And the reason for that is this is an apartment, and although dogs are welcome here, my dogs struggle with the stairs. All of the little village houses and village apartments here and in most villages around Portugal have these really steep and narrow staircases. And the previous time I lived in a village house here in Penamacor, just when I moved up to Penamacor from Cascais, I lived in a village house for a week before I moved into the farmhouse. And my dogs just couldn't make it up the stairs. Shakti didn't even try. Shiva did try, and every time he did, I cringed that he was gonna fall down those stairs. So I'm not putting my dogs through staying here, and if they can't stay with me, then I'm not staying here either. So a compromise for me is to just use the apartment to come and shower. Yes, I've literally rented an apartment to use the shower. It is what it is, but I will tell you this, there is nothing like a hot shower for one's mental well-being. And I'm feeling really good today as well because I've just had a wonderful shower. So this week on the farm, it's been an interesting week. The roof obviously went up. We then had some rain in the week, which came through the join, the ridge join of where the two roofs meet. But the water was streaming down my electrics and everything shut down, of course. And we had a little bit of struggle to get that back up and running and dried out. We eventually had to put a tarp over the roof to just get things done. They have fixed it because the last 2 days we've actually not had any rain, so it could dry out quite nicely. The finishings are going on the farmhouse as well. So all the interior walls have now been plastered and a final render has also gone on those walls. It's looking so good. It's really starting to look like a house. Yesterday, besides getting the keys for this apartment, which I was so excited about, yesterday was a really tough day for me. It was Friday, week 8, so the 5th day of the 8th week. We had the digger there to start digging out the little courtyard where the olive tree is, just outside of where the bedroom is going to be. And the digger would have made quick work of that, but we did get the digger in there. It was quite a mission. I was very excited that happened. And as we started working, just as we managed to get the digger on that side, my neighbor appeared and she was absolutely livid that we had trespassed on her land because the wall was broken already. It was so low that the reason we did it was because the wall was so low and we would be able to bring the digger across. Our intention was 100% to rebuild that wall for her once we were done, even into a better shape than it was when we found it. Understandably, she was very upset. She had told me before not to go on their land because her landlord is apparently really difficult. We thought we would take a chance because we were going to be so quick and then be in and out and rebuild that wall. So it is my fault 100%. I can't blame her for being as upset as she was. But she was so upset that she didn't come to speak to us about it at all. She immediately called the GNR, which is for all intents and purposes, a form of police here in Portugal. And then the GNR shows up, and to be honest, they were quite like wondering why this woman called them for an affair that we could have sorted out amongst ourselves. Anyway, so it was noted. I don't want to say a case was opened, because an official judicial case has not been opened, because the GNR said, yes, we were trespassing, but honestly, they don't see any criminal activity in what we did. So they just asked us to remove everything and build the wall back up, which we did immediately. And they took down my details, they took down the plaintiff's details, my neighbor, and they said effectively she has 6 months in which to take this to court if she wanted to. Anyway, I was really upset after that, but the guys did what they could. They removed everything. They even built the wall nicer than we'd found it. And then they started removing all those big granite boulders by hand and started digging out the courtyard and preparing that a little bit more. So we need to try and get the level of the floor of where the olive tree is below the door level, because if it rains, the water could potentially just rain through the doorway and seep through the floors and stuff like that, and that's not going to be good or healthy at all for future. So we need to kind of future-proof the rain and rain-proof that side, because the rain also comes directly from the south directly onto that wall as well. But yesterday they did make good further progress. We then repurposed the digger to continue with the water treatment system, which I call the septic tank, but it's a water treatment system which works a little bit differently. So that has continued going on. I'm happy with where we are. End of week 8 now, and the total project was estimated for 10 weeks. Yes, we've had some delays, but I'm really hoping that we can try and stick as close as possible to that timeline, because I have this apartment until the end of the month, which is effectively 10 days or so. I have the option of renting it for a further week, which I may do, but that gives us 2 to 3 weeks maximum to try and finish what I have on the farm. I would love to have the bathroom finished, a working bathroom, and then I can keep pottering on and finish the bedroom and the floors and stuff like that. My vision or my idea is to finish that side, finish the bathroom, finish the floor of the bedroom, move everything from the living space where I'm currently living into the bedroom side, and then I can start focusing on the kitchen and the lounge and move on with that. My fireplace still needs to be fitted, but I don't want to fit that while I'm living there, because it's going to be one big mess as we're going through one of the thick granite walls. So I'm hoping that we'll be finishing this project in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I know that that is still really ambitious as a timeline, but keep your fingers crossed and let's hope for the best. Let me show you what's happened on the farm this week.
Hello and welcome. I'm Christine, an expat originally from South Africa. I moved to Portugal in October of 21, and I started my journey in search of my forever farm in Portugal. This is my adventure as a solo expat on a farm in Central Portugal with my 2 fur kids, Shakti and Shiva. I've never owned or lived on a farm, but I moved to Portugal in the hope of fulfilling a lifelong dream in finding an open space, subsistence farming, and a safer, better life. Now that we have found our farm, the second stage of our journey begins. I have to figure out farm life while renovating an agricultural structure to make it habitable and turn it into a comfortable home for me and my fur kids. Follow along our journey. This is Girl Meets Farm. Today I'm here with Naluka and Hans.
Hello.
From Casa Creativa. It's olive harvest time and I'm helping them with their olive harvest today. It's really great because it's going to teach me how to do my olive harvest, which is also coming up soon. So let's get to it. It was hard work, but we had lots of fun during it. Full video available on their channel.
There's a lot of them.
Is end of day 1, week 8. I have today was a lot of nest work, I would say. I've put the light on just because things are super dark in there. Sorry if it's gonna flicker. The frequency is probably a little bit lower than what my camera likes. Bear with me, please. So I put the lights on just so that we can see what is actually happening on the inside here. In the bathroom today, they managed to take down this big piece of concrete that was still part of the old room structure that was here. So that is gone now, and the wall is nice and flat, and that will be plastered in nice and flat once the light fitting is in place as well. That's going to be the extractor, so I'm assuming the hole is going to go somewhere through there in the wall. We've also just finessed a little bit more of the brickwork to meet to the ceiling and plastered that in a little bit. Can't really do much more on this side just yet because we realized that some of the wires are actually in the wrong place, going through my glass bricks over there, so the electrician will need to come back, remove that, because I can't actually have wires going through the glass bricks. That's not really going to look very good. I think this is old concrete that was here. We've got some concrete on the floor. I think that was just like leftover mixes, but it will need to be concreted in anyway. And then let me just turn the light so that we can see. And again, I apologize for the flickering, but it is just so that we can see in here because it's actually quite dark. It's also the end of the day. So we used leftover concrete just to fill the gap that was there in the floor. The whole floor still needs a compounding layer across side to side. We also have to be very mindful of the door height and how much space we have there. But they know what they're doing, so I trust them. Today, besides, yes, I know you guys can see that. All right, let's start there. So they fitted the shutter as well to get the final size in the window. We had to add some layer of concrete, or I can't really see at the back there. Let's see if I stand this way. A layer of concrete under the shutter bottom there, just to level the height out so that we can see what height we require. And then the sides, of course, will be plastered in with whatever, and the fillers will be done so that that can fit quite snugly into the wall, and that will open to the outside where we can see that really nice view. They also filled some of the gaps with plaster, like the gaps above the door. That's not yet been done, but the window side's been filled. And again, all around where they still needed to do some finishing off at the top where the wall meets the ceiling. So that is all done now. We can't really continue. Oh, that's quite bright. Let me see if I can do something about that. Right, so we can't really finish that corner because that is exactly the wiring that's going through the glass block that shouldn't be there. So that needs to get sorted out before we can actually do anything with this wall. They also started cutting more into, let me just stand this side. They also started cutting down these really big corner pieces so that this can be more of a usable wall. This will still be pointed in. The dogs are barking because the cats are outside.
This will still be pointed in and will remain a beautiful feature piece on both sides. So yeah, a lot of finessing happened here today. And I think that's going to be the whole week. Finessing and just the floor maybe. And I'm not quite sure what we're going to be doing next. Really just preparing the space. Excited to see what this week brings. The next day, the plastering team arrived and they started on the walls. This guy works so fast. He really knows his stuff and he made such quick work of the plastering. He really makes it look like an absolute art, and I was fascinated by how he did this. Incredible work. We also had to break off any loose or old pieces of plaster from the old plaster on the walls and render this anew. Week 8, we had a little bit of an incident today. The water came through the roof somewhere, we're not sure yet, but went straight into the electrical cable box and we were without electricity for a little while. We put some Tyvek sheeting on and the tarp back on top just to cover the ridge or anywhere where that water could potentially be coming through until it's dry enough so we can actually fix it. This is the first time today where there is no rain, but it's coming again later. As I mentioned, 2 weeks of rain, so it's a little bit difficult to work on anything outside of the structure at the moment. But besides the little mishap today, we actually had some really good progress today, and the first coat of rendering went on. I apologize again, the light is on, so we're gonna have some flickering on the video. I'm sorry about that, but without the light, it's very dark in here and I can't really film. So you can already see the first coat of render is on here, up to the glass blocks. And we even managed to do, I'm not sure if this is gonna come up on camera. Let's see if I turn this way maybe. Again, up to the glass blocks, all is rendered, and all is rendered on this side as well. It's looking so good. And this is where all the water was streaming in today. It was literally just coming through there and all of this was underwater, and that is my mains box, so not really ideal. We've managed to render all of this. All of this is, oh, I'm so sorry for the flickering. All of this is rendered. All of these walls are rendered. It's pretty dark. All of these walls, and because of the rain, they made a makeshift door. So some of the insulation boards is currently in front of the doorway just to keep things a little bit drier, because when it rains, it comes directly from that side and the whole floor down here was wet from the rain. That wall is render first coat above where the existing render is, and they even started cleaning out this column on this side, all of the loose debris, to start readying it for pointing. Oh, I can already see it. How gorgeous does that look? It's so clean and it's so neat. A lot of these are going to get cut away just to make it a little bit flatter in the space. And then here, this wall is fully rendered already. If everything goes to plan, tomorrow we should have the second coat of rendering on all the walls. And after that, we've got to fix the final electricity, and we've got to put in the bathroom fittings, and then we've got to do the compound all on the floor. So yeah, quite a bit more work to do. I think I'm not sure how far we're gonna get this week. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But how good does this render look? Isn't it amazing? It looks so, so good. It is the end of day 3, week 8, and today the plaster team came back in to do the final plaster or the final render on some of the walls. They didn't manage to get to all of them, and I'll show you why, but it looks amazing. Absolutely incredibly amazing, the walls that they have done. It is like night and day difference on these walls. And again, I do apologize for the flickering of those lights. Isn't this just so, so incredible? I know it's very dark in here. It is the end of the day and there's not a lot of light except for my little flickering one. Look how beautifully they've done this ridge, where the old wall meets the new block bricks. I absolutely love that. I wanted to keep that little ridge so that we can keep a little bit of character in these walls. And yesterday, what I did forget to mention is they started cleaning up this piece of column on this side. That one still needs to be done as well. But look how nice this looks already. All the loose bits have been removed from the wall. The bigger stones still need to be cut down. But that is very nearly ready to be pointed. It's gonna look amazing. These walls look incredible. Silky, silky smooth. It's just phenomenal. The other side still needs to be done, so you can see the difference between the first render and the sandstone wall that is here. And the wall to what they start with. And all the dark walls still need to be done. Incredible! Alright, I'll get off. He's solidly in there.
And then, oh, you see the cut, the break in it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Here it comes.
Almost of it.
That's actually perfect. I love that. That looks so good. Well done. That's incredible. It is the end of day 4, week 8, and we had a little bit of an incident today with the wind. The wind picked up quite a little bit. And the tarp was just blowing everywhere. We had to pack more tiles on the roof. I was out the back packing more tiles on the roof, and the guys were on the roof packing more tiles on the roof to try and keep it from not blowing away. We need to keep that dry because tomorrow the leak somewhere on the ridge is going to get fixed, and then that will be the end of our tarp. So today, besides heavy winds, was another good day. We finished the guys finished most of the second coat of the render, and I'm not sure if you saw or can pick up, without my shadow being in the way, we managed to also cut through this column, and it is a lot. Let me go to this side. We took quite a bit back as well, and that is going to be the final bricks, stones sticking out of this. This is going to be lime pointed, and I think that's going to look absolutely beautiful when it's cleaned up and lime pointed against the white walls, beautifully rendered next to it, and white painted ceiling between this beautiful dark stained wood. I think it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So all of these walls have now been finished. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It really does look so good. I'm so impressed with how this guy managed to render everything so smoothly. We still have to cut these guys down to size, and as you can see, they jut out quite a bit. The other side looked the same way, so we'll take this side down as much as we can, probably to meet the same as the other side. But isn't that just gorgeous? Besides the flickering, I'm sorry about that, it's the light. But you can already picture how beautiful that's gonna look. Absolutely, I love it. And I'm not sure how much of this is gonna come up on camera just because it is so dark. Let me see if I can move this light a little bit. There we go. And see if we can see here. I'm so excited to show you guys this in daylight when we can finally open this area, and the shutter, it is just closed because it's quite cold when the wind does blow through here, and it's just closed to keep everything closed overnight. But this wall looks so pretty, and the final render against this glass blocks is really gorgeous. It really came out so beautiful and neat, and I love the way that that looks on both sides. Oh, this one is still covered up with tape, so we can't really see that one yet. But this wall is also beautifully rendered, and this side has had its second render as well, so its final render. The electrician will be around sometime to come and do his final fix. I also wanted to keep that open till we can sort out the leak in the roof, and I can make sure that that is all dry. And if it rains, that there's no more water coming in through the electrics, because that will not be fun if that had to happen in future. And this is all rendered closed. But everything else has pretty much now been done. I'm not sure how much we can see if I go into this room. It is pretty dark. Nope, that is just not translating, but they have rendered the inside wall on the bathroom, and also at the back, and they've started on this wall on the inside here. That wall at the back is actually not straight at all, so they've got to do quite a few layers of render to straighten that out, and we'll see what that looks like tomorrow. I'll put the lights in there tomorrow and see if I can show you guys the final product on that. But yeah, so far so good. Still super excited, especially seeing that column now. Oh, it's going to be so pretty when that is done. But everything else is just looking so gorgeous and so beautiful. Really excellent work.
Jolene the digger made it back to the farm today, and we were quite excited to get started on just pulling out all those huge granite boulders from the olive courtyard. But first we needed to move a couple of stones so that the digger could get safely over the little wall. The first attempt, and it was still a little too steep. We had to remove a couple of more blocks before it could get over. The second attempt was nail biting, but we made it over safely. Just as we managed to safely make it over to the other side is when the big mess happened with the GNR.
End of week 8, and the focus this week was just the finishing of the plaster on the inside. That wall got chipped down to its final size as well, and I actually think that looks really gorgeous. That wall is going to be so nice. Everything is so smooth on this side. The other side was finished as well. It looks so good. They started chopping down this wall, but let's go this way. As you can see, some of the stones still need to go, the big boys. But that is taking shape as well. That's been beautifully cleaned. And now it's just going to be cutting up some of the stones just to be a little bit flatter like the other side, and of course that will be pointed. This wall was done as well. These things sticking out are going to be my light fittings. I have some wall lights that I've chosen, and I can't wait to show you guys what that's going to look like. And the other side of the wall has been done as well. Sorry for the flickering. So all of the electrics has now been plastered back in because we did fix the roof yesterday. So this is looking really nice. And in the bathroom, all the walls have been finished as well. Let me see how much I can show you without casting too much of a shadow. Oh, all right. So we're gonna have a light here in the middle of the wall. There's an extractor that's going to go up there. The shower will go there. Toilet in the middle. And vanity on the side. These walls still need to be finished. But they've had their first coat. That looks good. So it's not 100% smooth yet, but that's okay because we still have to do some work in here. And they can only do that once, I guess, the pipes are in their final place. This wall over here was always interesting because it actually curves quite a bit. The camera doesn't show it, but they needed to build it up quite a bit on plaster. Let me get out the way. They needed to build up the plaster quite a bit on that side, but you can see, I'm not sure how much you can see, but it kind of goes like this and then it bends in a little bit. So they still have to get that flush for the shower tray to fit nice and snug so that we can do the floor. So once the shower tray is in, we can only do the compound on the floor and then continue with everything else. So this wall still needs to be built up a little bit to straighten that out, and I'm sure that they're going to be doing that next week. Then on the roof, to fix the leak that was coming through what we think was that middle ridge where the two roofs joined, they've added flashing, which is that sticky orange stuff on this side and the other side, and on the back side of the roof, same on both sides, to see if we can seal that. Now, unfortunately, I don't like the look of it, but at the moment it serves a purpose. Personally, it looks a little bit tacky to me, but if it stops the water from going into my electrics, then it is what it is.
Catch you next time.